You feel it. It's a quiet hum beneath the noise of your thoughts, a pull in a certain direction, a sense of knowing without knowing why. You're about to take a job, and something just feels off. You meet someone new, and you instantly feel at ease, like you've known them for years. Or you're driving and suddenly feel an urge to switch lanes, and a second later, the car in front of you slams on its brakes. We call it a hunch, a gut feeling. We call it intuition. For a long time, we treated intuition as something magical. A sixth sense, a whisper from the universe, or a guardian angel. It was seen as the opposite of logic, a fuzzy, unreliable thing that belonged to artists and mystics, not to scientists and CEOs. But that view is changing. We're starting to understand that intuition isn't magic. It's a deeply biological and psychological process. It's the result of your brain doing what it does, best processing a staggering amount of information at a speed your conscious mind can't even begin to comprehend. Scientifically, intuition is your brain's express lane. It's rapid, unconscious pattern recognition. To really get what's happening, we need to look at how our brains are built. Think of your mind as having two different operating systems. One is slow, deliberate, and a bit lazy. The other is lightning fast, automatic, and always on. Psychologists like Daniel Kahneman call them System 2 and System 1. System 2 is your conscious mind. It's the part of you that's reading these words right now, trying to understand them. It's what you use when you have to solve a math problem, like 17 times 24. You have to focus. So you follow steps, it takes effort. System 2 is logical, analytical, and careful. It's powerful, but it's also slow and has a limited capacity. You can't solve that math problem while also composing an email and planning your weekend. It gets overloaded easily. It's the part of your brain that thinks it's in charge. But it's not. Most of the time we're running on System 1. This is your brain's autopilot. It's the system that lets you drive a familiar route home from work without thinking about every turn. It's what recognizes a friend's face in a crowd instantly. It's what lets you understand the tone of someone's voice or finish the sentence bread and without any conscious effort. System 1 is effortless, automatic, and incredibly fast. It works by making associations and recognizing patterns based on all your past experiences. It's running in the background, constantly taking in data from your senses and making snap judgments. Intuition is a product of this system. It's a message that bubbles up from the fast, unconscious processing of System 1 into the awareness of your slow, conscious System 2. That gut feeling, that sudden hunch, is System 1 handing a conclusion to System 2 without showing its work. It's like a supercomputer that runs a million calculations and then just gives you the final answer. Trust this person, or, don't make that investment. You didn't see the calculations, you just get the result. This is why intuition feels so mysterious. We're only aware of the final product, not the massive high-speed computation that produced it. So what is that computation based on? It's based on patterns. Your brain is the most sophisticated pattern-matching machine on the planet. From the moment you are born, you are gathering data. Every conversation you have, every book you read, every face you see, every mistake you make, every success you have. All of this is stored away, not necessarily as explicit memories you can consciously recall, but as a vast network of associations and patterns in the neural circuitry of your brain. When you face a new situation, your System 1 brain instantly sifts through this immense database, looking for a match. It's searching for any similar situation from your past. It's not looking for a perfect one-to-one match. It's looking for fragments, emotional echoes, contextual cues. It might find that the slight hesitation in a business partner's voice is similar to the hesitation of someone who let you down years ago. You don't consciously remember that old event, but your brain does. It recognizes the pattern. The result is a feeling of unease, a hunch that something isn't right. This is why experts often have what seems like superhuman intuition. Think of a seasoned firefighter who suddenly orders his team out of a burning building moments before the floor collapses. If you ask him why he did it, he might say, "I don't know, I just had a feeling." But it wasn't a random feeling. His brain, trained by years of experience in countless fires, was picking up on subtle cues that his conscious mind didn't have time to process. Maybe it was the strange color of the smoke, the unusually quiet sound of the fire, the way the heat felt on his skin. Individually, these cues meant nothing, but together, they formed a pattern that his brain had associated with imminent danger, specifically a flashover or a structural collapse. His intuition was simply expertise in action. The same goes for a chess grandmaster who can glance at a complex board and instantly see the best move. They aren't calculating every possible outcome like a computer. Instead, their brain, having studied and played tens of thousands of games, recognizes the pattern on the board and immediately retrieves the most effective strategy associated with that pattern. It's a non-conscious lookup from a massive internal library of game positions. To an outsider, it looks like genius. To the brain, it's just efficient data retrieval. Or consider an experienced doctor in an emergency room. A patient comes in with a set of confusing symptoms. The doctor might have a hunch about a rare diagnosis long before the test results come back. This isn't a wild guess. Their brain has processed thousands of patient cases, textbook diagrams, and research papers. It unconsciously pieces together subtle cues, the patient's skin tone, the way they're breathing, a seemingly unrelated complaint, and finds a match in its vast database, suggesting a diagnosis that the more methodical conscious brain hasn't arrived at yet. But intuition isn't just for experts. We all have it because we are all experts in our own lives. Your brain has been meticulously studying one subject for its entire existence, you. It knows what situations have led to pain, what people have brought you joy, what environments make you feel safe or threatened. This personal database is what fuels our everyday social and emotional intuition. When you meet someone and get a bad vibe, your brain might be picking up on microexpressions, a tone of voice, or body language that resembles a pattern associated with untrustworthiness from your past. You can't put your finger on it, but your system one has already run the numbers and sent a warning flare. Now, where does the gut part of a gut feeling come from? It's not just a metaphor. Intuition is a full body experience. There's a powerful connection between our brains and our bodies, particularly our digestive system. This is often called the gut-brain axis. Your gut is lined with a network of neurons so extensive that it's sometimes called the second brain. This network, the enteric nervous system, is in constant communication with the brain in your head via the vagus nerve, a massive nerve that wanders from the brainstem down into the abdomen. This communication is a two-way street. Your brain sends signals to your gut, which is why stress can cause stomach catches. But your gut also sends a massive amount of information back up to your brain. In fact, about 90% of the signals passing along the vagus nerve are traveling from the gut to the brain, not the other way around. Your gut is constantly telling your brain about your internal state. The neuroscientist Antonio Damasio developed a theory called the somatic marker hypothesis, which helps explain this. He proposed that our past experiences, especially emotional ones, leave a kind of biological bookmark or a somatic marker. When you have an experience, your brain doesn't just store the facts, it also stores the emotional and physical sensations that went with it. If you made a bad investment and lost a lot of money, you remember the sinking feeling in your stomach, the tightness in your chest, the stress. Later, when you're faced with a similar risky decision, your brain resurrects that old physical feeling. Before your conscious mind can even analyze the new situation, your gut might clench. Your heart rate might change. That physical sensation, that somatic marker, is a quick, dirty summary of your past experience. It's a warning signal from your body that says, hey, pay attention. This pattern has led to bad news before. That feeling is intuition in its most raw physical form. It's your body giving you data. It's not separate from rational thought. It's a form of information that rational thought can then use. People who have damage to the parts of the brain that process these emotional signals often struggle to make good decisions. They can analyze the pros and cons endlessly, but without that gut-level feeling to guide them, they get stuck. They're missing a crucial piece of data. So we know intuition is fast, unconscious pattern recognition that often manifests as a physical feeling. But where exactly in the brain is all this happening? It's not in one single spot. Intuition is a network activity involving a collaboration between several key brain regions. One of the most important players is the insula, or insular cortex. Tucked away deep in the brain, the insula is responsible for interoception and trained the sense of your body's internal state. It's the brain's hub for feeling your own heartbeat, the rumble in your stomach, the tension in your muscles. It takes the raw signals from your body and translates them into what we experience as feelings: anxiety, excitement, disgust, safety. When your gut sends a signal up the vagus nerve, the insula is what makes sense of it. It's the bridge between the physical gut feeling and the emotional awareness that something is right or wrong. Another key area is the anterior cingulate cortex, or ACC. The ACC acts like the brain's conflict monitor or error detection system. It's constantly scanning for discrepancies between what you expect to happen and what is actually happening. When you're driving on autopilot and suddenly a deer jumps onto the road, your ACC fires up like an alarm bell. It signals that something is wrong and your conscious, deliberate system 2 needs to wake up and take control. In intuition, the ACC might detect a subtle conflict that you're not consciously aware of, a mismatch between someone's words and their body language, for instance. It creates that nagging feeling that something is off, prompting you to pay closer attention. And then there's the ventromedial prefrontal cortex, a region behind your forehead that's crucial for integrating emotion into decision making. This is the area that works with Damasio's somatic markers. It links your knowledge of a situation to the emotional and bodily feelings associated with past outcomes. It helps you quickly evaluate options based on a good or bad feeling, steering you towards choices that have previously led to rewards and away from those that led to punishment. These regions, and others, work together in a seamless, high-speed dance. Your sensory systems take in raw data. Your memory centers in the hippocampus and amygdala search for emotional patterns from the past. Your insula translates bodily signals into feelings. Your ACC flags any inconsistency. And your prefrontal cortex integrates it all to produce a final output, a hunch, an urge, a feeling of knowing. All of this happens in a fraction of a second, completely outside of your conscious control. This all sounds amazing, and it is. Intuition is an incredibly powerful tool. It's a survival mechanism honed by millions of years of evolution. It helped our ancestors quickly assess whether a stranger was a friend or a foe, or whether a rustle in the grass was the wind or a predator. In the modern world, it helps us navigate complex social situations and make quick decisions when we don't have time for a full analysis. But it's crucial to be honest about its limitations. Intuition is not infallible. It's not a magic truth detector, because intuition is based on patterns from our past experiences. It is only as good as the data it has been trained on. And sometimes that data is flawed, incomplete, or just plain wrong. This is where our intuition can lead us astray, often in predictable ways. These are called cognitive biases. One of the most common ways intuition fails is through baked-in prejudice. If you grew up in an environment where you were implicitly taught to distrust a certain group of people, your system 1 will have formed a negative pattern association. When you meet someone from that group, your intuition might send you a warning signal, a bad vibe. You might feel that your gut is telling you something important about this person's character, but it isn't. It's just replaying an old bias pattern. It's not genuine insight, it's a prejudice dressed up as a hunch. This is why we must question our gut feelings, especially when they involve judgments about other people. We have to ask, is this a real signal, or is it just an echo of a harmful stereotype I've learned? Another trap is the availability heuristic. Our brains tend to give more weight to information that is recent, vivid, or emotionally charged. If you just watched a news report about a plane crash, you might have a strong intuitive feeling that flying is incredibly dangerous, even though statistically it's one of the safest forms of travel. Your intuition isn't based on the actual data, it's based on the most easily available and dramatic mental image. People use the same faulty intuition to make bad financial decisions, buying into a stock when it's all over the news at its peak and panic selling when the news is scary at the bottom. There's also confirmation bias. Once we have a hunch about something, our brains have a natural tendency to look for and favor information that confirms our initial feeling while ignoring information that contradicts it. If you have an intuitive feeling that a new business idea is brilliant, you'll eagerly consume articles and opinions that support your view and dismiss or downplay any evidence of potential pitfalls. Your intuition feels like it's getting stronger and more validated, but you're just building an echo chamber around your initial guess. Furthermore, intuition struggles in situations that are truly new or that operate under rules that are counterintuitive. Your intuition is trained on the world you've experienced. It can be terrible at statistics, long-term forecasting, or understanding complex, interconnected systems like the global economy or climate change. In these domains, slow, deliberate, data-driven analysis from System 2 is not just helpful, it's essential. Relying on your gut to pick lottery numbers or predict the stock market is a recipe for failure. Your gut has no valid past data for that. So the big question becomes, how do we use this powerful but flawed tool? How can we get better at listening to our intuition without becoming slaves to our biases? It seems possible to cultivate a healthier relationship with our intuitive sense. The first step is simply to pay attention. We live in a world of constant distraction that encourages us to live in our heads. We're so busy processing external information, emails, social media, news, that we often ignore the subtle internal signals from our bodies. Practices like mindfulness or meditation can help with this. They aren't about emptying your mind, but about learning to observe your thoughts and feelings without immediately reacting to them. By sitting quietly and paying attention to your breath or the sensations in your body, you can train your awareness. You start to notice the subtle tightening in your chest when you think about a stressful work project, or the feeling of openness and ease when you're with a good friend. You're essentially improving the signal quality from your body to your conscious mind. The second step is to feed your brain better data. Since intuition is pattern recognition, the more diverse and high quality patterns you have in your database, the better your intuition will be. This means getting out of your comfort zone. Read widely on subjects you know nothing about. Travel to new places. Talk to people who have different life experiences and perspectives than you do. They learn a new skill. Every new experience creates new neural pathways and enriches the database your System 1 can draw from. An intuition built on a narrow set of experiences will be narrow and brittle. An intuition built on a rich, diverse set of experiences will be more flexible, nuanced, and reliable. Another important practice is to create space for your unconscious mind to work. The best aha moments often don't come when you're staring at a problem, trying to force a solution. They come when you've stepped away, when you're in the shower, or going for a walk, or doing the dishes. This is because when you switch your conscious mind, System 2 to a low-effort task, you give your unconscious mind, System 1, the freedom to work on the problem in the background. It can make connections and see patterns that your focused, stressed brain was blocking. So when you're stuck, sometimes the most productive thing you can do is stop trying so hard. Take a break and let your intuition do its thing. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, is the process of reflection and verification. Your intuition should be treated as a trusted advisor, not an infallible dictator. When you have a strong gut feeling, don't just blindly act on it. Acknowledge it. Get curious about it. Ask yourself, why might I be feeling this way? Then use your analytical mind to test it. If you have a hunch about a business decision, listen to that hunch, but then go and find the data to support or refute it. If you have a bad feeling about a person, pay attention to that feeling, but then observe their actions over time to see if your intuition was accurate. Keep a journal. When you have a strong intuitive hit, write it down. Write down what you did and what the outcome was. Over time, you'll start to see your own patterns. You might learn that your intuition about people is remarkably accurate, but your intuition about financial matters is terrible. This kind of feedback loop is essential. It's how you train your intuition. You're teaching your System 1 what a correct signal feels like. You're refining the algorithm. In the end, what science is showing us is that intuition and logic are not enemies. They are partners. They are two different ways of knowing, two different modes of processing the world. The wisest decisions are often made when we learn to integrate them both. Intuition offers a hypothesis, a quick first draft based on a deep well of experience. Logic then comes in to edit, fact check, and refine that draft. Intuition is not a mystical power you are either born with or not. It is a skill. It is the quiet result of your brain doing an incredible amount of work behind the scenes. It's your entire life experience, every failure, every triumph, every observation, every feeling distilled into a single momentary sense of knowing. It is deeply, fundamentally human. It's the whisper of your own vast, silent intelligence. The key is to learn how to listen to it, how to understand its language, and how to know when to trust its voice.